I want to talk about something that I see as the root of a lot of conflict when it comes to relationships with other people. And I'm going to present this via a scenario that I observed a couple weeks ago, right? The scenario was this: there was a little boy who was going to play with a friend. The friend was a little more interested in playing with himself than with the boy. And so the boy's mother said, the boy started first to kind of pout and get a bit of an attitude and start to whine. So the boy's mother kind of pulled him aside and said, "Hey, you don't want to start to whine because other people don't want to be around whiny people." And first, I think when parents observe things in their children, it's of course their responsibility and their prerogative as a parent to parent how they want. However, I'm also going to share my perspective because I feel like this perspective is common not just for children, but you see it in a lot of adult relationships as well. And I feel like people haven't really thought about a different approach and how taking a different approach could really lead to much healthier relationships and much greater happiness. So, the boy wanted to pout, he wanted to whine a little bit because he was unhappy. He was being told, don't do that because other people won't like it. I feel like a better approach would have been to say, don't whine because you don't want to be a person who gets upset and stays in a bad mood because that can bring your energy down, that can make you less happy, right? When you're in a bad mood, you're not as happy as when you're in a good mood. And other people don't want to be around someone who is in a bad mood, right? So it's not just that you don't want to do this because other people will react to you in a certain way, but it's you don't want to do this because you don't want to feel that way. And as a side note, other people may not want it as well, right? And when the two things are aligned, what you want and what others want, there isn't really an issue. But when what someone else wants is different than what you want, that can be the cause of a lot of conflict, even if it's internal conflict within a relationship, right? I know a number of people who feel like they are in toxic relationships, but have trouble leaving the relationship. And when I talk to them, they end up talking about how they do things, even if it's accepting certain treatment from their partner, even when they feel like that doesn't make them happy, but they feel like it's the other person being true to themselves, right? So it's, I'm going to take on this discomfort because I don't want to upset the other person, right? And I feel like this is, in a way, making yourself small, right? Now, you'll hear a lot of talk in the kind of personal improvement space about boundaries and standing up for yourself. But I feel like what I'm talking about here is more of an alignment of perspectives, right? Kind of how can you get it to be where you are doing what you like and the other person is getting something out of it too, right? So that's why I mentioned in the situation with the two little boys that the one was, you don't want to be the type of person that does this, and your friend may not also want to be around the type of person that does this, right? That is an alignment that is presented in a way of your desires, the other person's desires matching up, right? I'm going to share another example where At work, you get tasked with an assignment, and you know that there are other people on your team who could be doing the assignment and are less busy than you. So you're a little bit conflicted. Do I do the assignment and kind of stay quiet, even though I know there are maybe other people who could be doing this more easily than me, or better than me, or with less stress than me, right? Part of it, you want to be a team player. At the same time, you want to be treated fairly. And if you're taking on way more work than others, that's not fair, right? This is probably something that many, many people have experienced. If it is, right, if internally you're thinking both of these things, I want to be a team player and I also want to be treated fairly, then a potential solution could be, well, hey, maybe I reach out to some other people on the team and ask them to help me, right? I'm still being a team player, I'm still taking part in doing the assignment, but I am also acting to make a more fair situation in terms of my workload or how I'm treated, right? Maybe it's even, well, I'm going to do the assignment and then have a conversation to say, going forward, I like to discuss workload balancing because I felt like that assignment really made me stress when I had to get things done, when I had to get many things done, right? You are more likely to stand up for yourself when you feel that you are valuing your feelings, right? If instead you feel a little bit stronger that these other people want me to do this, and even though I don't want to, I'm going to stay quiet because these other people want it, then you're more likely to do the assignment, not say anything about it at all, but still feel like you have been treated unfairly, right? That harbored resentment can kind of build up and come out in subtle and negative ways, right? It can be draining to you, it can be frustrating, it can be upsetting. So, what I'm saying is, don't just push your feelings down because you feel like others around you may want it, right? Even if you want to be someone who is sensitive to the feelings of others, right? You also want to be someone who is sensitive to the feelings that you have. So it will take speaking up, but it is this reframe of, I am doing this for me, right? What do I want in this situation? And if I want to be helpful to others and do something for myself that is in conflict, well, then I'm going to have to resolve this by addressing both sides, not just one or the other, but both, being sensitive to others and sensitive to myself, right? If your perspective is more focused on what others want, then then you won't kind of end up standing up for yourself in the same way. You won't end up feeling as empowered in the same way. And if you're always just focused on what you want, then you won't end up developing the kind of interconnectedness, the deep social bonds that can really be rewarding. But they don't have to be butting heads with each other, right? They can coexist peacefully and synergetically, right? It can be that as you start to share what you like, how you feel, how things affect you, how you think about things more, others start to understand you better, and then they treat you better because they better understand where you are coming from. Now, another kind of point that I want to throw in here is that oftentimes people may hear these things and feel like, but I've been in this relationship for a while and I haven't spoken up in the past. And so maybe if I do start to say more things now, it'll seem like I'm being weird, I'm being different, I'm changing, right? Like, hey, maybe I have been getting stuck with these assignments when other people are just off twiddling on their phones and I've been doing the work. But if I were to start speaking up now, wouldn't it seem like I'm just a complainer? Right? I would urge you again to think about it from a different perspective, right? Not just need to set the boundary, need to tell these people no, need to set them straight, but think about how it could be good for the others and for you and for the organization, right? Like it could be that, hey, as I start to say, I'm feeling overwhelmed with this work, other people would feel good about helping me, right? They would feel good about taking some of these things off my plate. And so, whereas in my mind, I'm thinking it's going to cause an issue for me to speak up about the workload, maybe in reality, it ends up being a positive thing, right? Maybe as you speak up about the workload, other people understand your strengths and weaknesses or what you can do quickly or less quickly. And then they get assigned work that they like more or they can do more quickly. You get assigned things that you can do more quickly, and the organization benefits, right? It's kind of this belief that speaking up, sharing how you feel, sharing what you really want will result in a negative outcome that often prevents people from speaking up more. And if from a young age you've been told to maybe not speak up because of what others may think about you, it can feel like a challenge to start speaking up more. The other thing to think about, though, which is very, very important, is that this speaking up, this sharing your feelings, this sharing how you see things, right? This is a skill. And like any skill, the more you do it, the better you get. So when you approach it from this perspective of, I am going to take this opportunity to speak up, it's also from the mindset of, I am building the skill of speaking up for myself, right? So that although it may feel difficult in the moment, I'm going to do it here and do it another time and do it another time and do it another time. And then in the future, it's going to be much easier. It's going to come to me more naturally. I'm going to speak up sooner and then not end up in the same situations that I have ended up in up till now, right? It's like this rainbow at the end of the road, right? Like you're heading towards sunnier, greener pastures and things are really looking up, right? That helps you then confront the difficult conversation. And I put difficult in quotes because, like I said, even thinking of it as difficult can kind of make you less inclined to have the conversation. But when you think of it as a positive thing, right, that it could have positive outcomes, it could be a needed, helpful conversation as opposed to a difficult one. And when it's helping you build the skill of speaking up for yourself, when it's helping you build the skill of getting more of what you want out of life, it is a positive conversation. So I urge you to think about your relationships and interactions with others where you feel like you are maybe doing things for them that you don't like, that you don't want to do, right? Maybe sometimes it is I'm doing some things I don't like, they're doing some things that they don't like, but we both want to be committed to this relationship. And so we're both going to continue going forward in that way. And you decide to do that, right? But even if you do that, it's, I want to be part of this relationship. And so even though I am doing something that I may not like in the moment, what I like more than this particular task or activity or whatever is the relationship overall, the feelings I get outside of there. And so this thing is just a smaller thing, right? And even from that, like, because we both like this relationship, because we both want it to work, because we're both willing to compromise, you can still talk about the things that you don't like and still search for potential solutions, potential alternatives to do more of what you like, to have a better balance for the relationship to become less toxic. So think about these conversations as building the skill of communicating what you want, right? And that the more you build this skill, the better you get. The better you get at communicating what you want, the more people understand you. The more people understand you, the more fulfilling your relationships become. So I hope this finds you well. Take care, and I love you.